look at some CVNA and VALE earnings, my friends. Let's see what we've got going here on CVNA. That is, I've had drawn out one line here. Prior to the stream, I was doing a little bit, I would say, research on the chart, and that's basically a high time frame level of resistance there at 57.32, and that's going to be, to me, an interesting level. Yeah, I also have not traded these personally yet, but I guess this is a good opportunity if it can get above 57.32. That's really what I would like to see. If it's not going to do that, right, I would imagine that it's going to come down and going to sweep some lows here. So some short-term levels to be interested in for CVNA, like regardless of positive or negative earnings. We'll look into that into a second, but I want to draw the levels here. So there's going to be stops of long positions under these lows, 48.16, 49.36. And that's basically my thesis on this, is that I'm either going to want to buy this higher if it flips 57.32 into support. If I zoom out to the weekly time frame for a second, that's this level, right? That's if I'm just zooming out for a second, again, regardless of earnings, I'm asking myself, where are we? We're at resistance here, same resistance, resistance, resistance. So up until the point that this chart confirms to me that it is no longer resistance, I want to be very careful here short term, because again, we're at resistance. Once we clear that 57.32 level for CVNA, in my opinion, that would break a multi-year resistance that we've had since 2022. And at that point, there's still plenty of upside to catch, in my opinion. I've got a level there at 79.28. That's the top end of this fair value gap on the weekly time frame. I've seen this kind of move down in 2022, also on crypto, and it's left behind big ass fair value gaps, where if we can break this resistance, I would imagine that this is actually something worth looking at. So CVNA, putting it on my personal watch list, but I'm simply not a buyer here because I know that red line is resistance, and I want to see this thing prove strength above the red line for me to get in. Once again, all the way up there, 79.28, that's the target. So there's still plenty of upside. Again, if not, I want to see other people get stopped out basically, and then on a sign of strength, I want to get in now. So that might be at 48.16. That would be good to really everybody who's long here, stop losses under these lows, to get them out and then to basically get in. Otherwise, we'll have to look lower, like at these lows here. So I'm not convinced yet for CVNA here at 54. Let's see what their earnings are coming in at. I'm not really the best guy to keep up with that, but I'm just checking here on Twitter for a second on the TrendSpider profile. Typically, they're pretty quick with letting us know what's up with the earnings. If not, I'll just look around on the internet for a bit. I know Bookies and Mr. SLP, they always have a quick way to find it, but I haven't caught on to that. Anyways, let's take a look here at the short-term price action. So we've closed here, market close, 4 p.m. New York time. Let's see. And the second one, let's maybe do a split screen here. You're not a fully grown boomer yet. Absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not. Let's do a split screen here because this stream is called CVNA and VALE Earnings. So I want to take a look at the both charts. VALE. This is also a company that I haven't traded yet myself, but it is within a sector, and I was doing a little bit of research about it, and it's apparently a South American fuel company or whatever in the same sector as PBRA, and that is something that I have personally traded. I'm personally long on that and bullish on it. So CVNA to the left, I personally don't see a long or a short here in the immediate short term. If anything, I'd wait for here or here. But let's take a look at VALE as well, because they have earnings, so we can expect volatility, right? So I guess I have to go to extended trading hours here. Let's see. There goes CVNA. So this is really, let's just focus on this for a second, right? This squiggly line here, that's something that we could be watching for. Definitely, if you see a red candlestick right that, right, it is drawn to the stops. So going long just here, in my opinion, I wouldn't do that. I always want to see where is the liquidity, where are the stop losses from people who are long here, and I'm not going to get in until they are basically getting out of the market. So short term, I expect this thing to drop below that 49.5, regardless whether it goes up a little bit here. It's probably heading for these stops here. And also, right, just a lesson on if you want a long scalp, I would work with just a market in here. You really want to, in my opinion, see a 5-minute candle closure. Like within the 5-minute candle, there is so much volatility. It's really a gamble. Long here, anywhere, this candle could easily become twice the size. So you never know. When things close, that's important. So there were two options here, but I would be going for the more conservative option, to be honest. So where did this go to? 48.7 so far. 48.16 is, in my opinion, what's next. So really, anybody who longed at the market open, this 5-minute candlestick right now, that's a bearish order block. So now that, like I said it previously on the stream as well, you can't just from right off the gate give a good like scalping setup. You need some candlesticks to unfold to basically tell you what you need to get above to get to a certain level. So at this point, right, this candlestick gives information above 53.9. You could look for a run to 57.32, that resistance. And as I said, this could easily come down more to hunt the stops below these lows. For VALE, I don't see anything. This is just simply not moving. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but at least we're getting volatility on CVNA. Let's see if these earnings are in already. Hello, man. Any earnings plays? Welcome. I am good at MC. Good to see you again. We're taking a look at CVNA here, just like last week, letting some candlesticks unfold. Got a level here at 53.9. That's what we need to get above, I would say, for a move to 57. But short term, this could easily drop. And well, that's an epic candle. So yeah, the moment it got above 53.9, there you go, 57. That is extremely quick, of course, to act on. Like nobody can act on that. So and this red line, right? That's a high time frame resistance. So we want to see some closes above that. Let's see. That was a 1-minute candlestick. Yes, it's a 1 minute 17% candlestick. So they really got the stops out just below this level. Those two levels were on the chart for a move below. That is that's some wild action. But as I said, right, on the 5-minute time frame here, that level 53.9, that's what you got to get above to ignite. That is a huge move. That is one of the wildest things that I've seen in a while. It's always fun for the inner degen to observe some extreme price action. I mean, at this point, this is just bullish up until it gets below the low end of that 5-minute candlestick. So that first 5-minute candlestick is very important. So if you're doing anything within the first 5 minutes, it's a gamble. After a while, these levels, the open and the close price of that candlestick are important. And what are we like? There was one level above us here that I've put on the chart. Not expecting that to hit today, but maybe over the coming days and weeks, if we can get above 57.32 here, start closing above that would be really bullish for the days to come, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot going on here just in this 5-minute candlestick, up, down. Yeah, NVIDIA 788 absolutely was a little bit wrong on the short to midterm bearish idea on NVIDIA. They smashed it. Let's see how high it all goes, right? Still not completely understanding why VALE is not showing any price action. Maybe there's simply no trades going on. But anyways, then we know to focus on CVNA for a while here. Let's see. So from above 53.9 to the top of that wick, that's 25% in a matter of seconds. VALE is OTC. Yeah, I've never traded VALE before myself, as I said before. Let's see. And it's really, really tricky. And the 5-minute candlestick close, you guys, is extremely important because the wicks do the damage, but the closes, they tell, they are important. Let's see if we get an earnings calendar here as well for what else is having earnings. Did these numbers already appear on TradingView? Nope. I'm seeing Transpider updates on other tickers into. Let's maybe take a look at that one as well if we're going to split screen here. This apparently, let's see. They beat on earnings per share, sales just coming in at the estimate. I've never seen this ticker before into it. Let's quickly go to a weekly time frame and see what that is doing. This is actually looking extremely bullish, right? This is very likely headed back to that all-time high at some point. So that, like, just as for a chart like Uber a couple of weeks ago when we were not at the all-time high yet, the idea was always that that was the magnet to the market. So negative earnings or whatever, or a down move for earnings, it was the same with, for example, Visa, right? This 5-minute candlestick right here, 3.5% down. I mean, you get back above the open price of that 5-minute candlestick. That's a level to keep in mind. So getting back above 656.71, you could simply be patient for that to happen. You don't need to catch the whole entire move. That's just unrealistic. But the easy part of the move would be, right? This is something that I'm going to put on my watch list. So just because I'm bullish on it, because I expect it to go to the all-time high over the coming, I would say, weeks or months, does not mean that immediately now is a good buy. I really don't want to do any bottom picking. I want to see this cleanly get back above that level of resistance. And that's a bullish 5-minute candlestick close for CVNA above that weekly resistance. So let's see if it can get above that high at 67.54. A clean break above that with some volume, and this could, well, over the next maybe day or so, I could for sure run to 79. But yeah, let's see. Anything else with earnings here? So I'm going to make sure to put this on my watch lists, this into stuff. And maybe CVNA as well. I'm gonna keep this on the split screen here for a second because that's a level, right? Where yeah, CVNA already broke that level where we needed to get above 53.9. But this one here still has yet to do that. Is it a good entry for a swing? Well, as a general rule of thumb, right? I don't think that a good entry for a swing is necessarily something that you find after hours. So a swing, like the upside potential here to me, until you're going to get until like really significant resistance, would be 79.28. So if, for example, right, you just mark it in long here, well, your upside to that resistance is about as much as your downside to that local low. So that's not really a good risk to reward factor anymore. What you could look for, right, on this is if I'm going to just be conservative on this, you never want to rule out that it comes down and comes and retests something. So what could it come and retest to be bullish, right? So we can draw this squiggly line up until this point here. That would be a good point for a retest, but so you always got to consider like how worth is it, right? How good is the risk to reward from where I'm now getting in to where my potential upside is to where I'm going to stop out. You always want to make sure that you can, well, the lower you buy, the more, well, the better risk to reward you're going to get, of course. So there's, of course, not a guarantee that it does it, but coming back to test that 53.9, that's the same level that I said earlier. This is what you got to get above to get to 57, and then so on and so forth. I would personally also be interested in this Intuit stuff. Like I've quickly, for just a second, checked the high time frame, right? Let's see, Carvana is coming in. The numbers here. Revenue 10.77 billion. That's a lot of money. I'm gonna place an alert there for sure. 656.71. It could do that tonight, but it could very well just take a few days before it settles above that level. And with it settles above that level, I mean that you need to see at least a candlestick close above that. So at least, at the very least, a 5-minute candlestick to close above that. Otherwise, it can easily become a wick and just remains resistance. So this is interesting for CVNA, right? Also, as a general rule of thumb, if you're asking, is it a good time to get in? Like again, a general good rule of thumb is never on a green candlestick. I'm not very fond of going long on green candlesticks unless I'm swing trading my 4-hour time frame strategy. Like when I'm scalping, ideally I'm not going long on a green candlestick, and that takes a while to kind of practice and get down. But of course, like you see a green candlestick, what does everybody think and feel in their mind? They think buy up. But how often does it happen that you actually buy on a green candlestick and it goes down a couple of candlesticks afterwards? So CVNA, this is what I would like to see, just a couple of candlesticks unfold where we stop going higher and we maybe come down and test that 53.9 again, because as I said, that was the level to get above for a move to the upside. Cleanly said that here, but also that is like, it's extremely difficult to act on that, right? That is a couple of seconds. So if you think like, oh, I've missed it, well, that same exact level could become now relevant because we've broken above it. A good retest would be ideal. And then instead of going long here somewhere and putting your stop loss, for example, under these lows, right? It is a way bigger move than if you were to go long here and take your stop under these lows. That's still 10%, but it's not going long in these green candlesticks and basically 20%. Also, it's not because your stop loss is 10 or 20% that you're 10 or 20% on your account, of course. It all matters how you size it. This is really stale in terms of price action in comparison to CVNA. Let's see on the volume. I would imagine that the volume is definitely on the left chart here. Let's see how much volume is in that candlestick. So 162.612 thousand shares of this. And here, let's see. What's up, Nikki? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, here you can absolutely see that the volume is just non-existent here ever since we've seen that drop. That is actually an extremely shallow volume. Let's see. This is definitely a chart that I would like to play during the regular trading session, like tomorrow, for example. What is important if you want to chart this out for yourself, for example, right? Is where this candle closed when the market closed earlier on. That's your closing price. That is going to be the bottom of a gap that is created tomorrow. That's something to play to. They've really orchestrated it very well that the move basically happens in a couple of seconds, and everybody who's late to that, basically, like always with these earnings, has to wait it out for a while. Just checking here on Twitter, what else has news? Let's see, SQ. That is a chart that I have looked at yet already. Block beats on revenue, misses on earnings, but price action really doesn't care. Let's quickly go to a higher time frame for the block to see where this could be heading to. It's currently at 76. I mean, if we haven't already, this is likely to go for that $80. So this is likely going to go. So I would say you get above 77.9 for a move to 80, but it's a quick. The move, the majority of the move to that level of resistance already happened. So is it really worth it? If that level breaks and if that can flip into support, that is something that could ignite a move higher for this company. And I have looked at this in the past, and it was already looking interesting to me. So we got a lot of built up pools of liquidity here. Stop losses 81.47 is a level. Basically taking my levels from these wicks, above these wicks. That's where the market is heading to, basically on lower time frames. This would be nice to see this coming down a little bit, maybe to half of this big ass candlestick. And then again, the risk to reward gets way better to that 80.29 target. If you're like playing a breakout here for just a couple of dollars, yeah, that's a 3.5% move. But if this could retrace back down a little bit, and that could percentage-wise become way more, right? That's, for example, a 12% move. And here they say beats on revenue, misses on earnings. Okay. What these earnings are particularly are of my minor interest, to be honest. I'm just looking at the levels where I think it's headed to. The reason why earnings are important and why it's relevant to basically have a stream around them, up to me as a trader, it's not because I'm interested in what these companies are doing, but because I know that this will ignite volatility also for the days to come. Let's maybe take a fib level here from that candle from the bottom to the top and add in some retracements here. So we could look at the 0.5 retracement, and then I have my golden pocket 61.8 to 75. That would be ideal. So let's go to a lower time frame here. This gets back below 74. This could easily come to test these fib levels, then go up. Carvana, also interesting to see that it's not just straight and only up. So if you're buying green candlesticks, you're getting consolidation or down. So that's good to see. 53.9 for, again, if you missed the breakout there, that's the level for the retest. Back to the 57.32 level, just that's a level of resistance then. And then if it breaks that, targeting the wick. So I'm gonna just mark out that low here. And without even using stocks buddies, I would imagine that stocks buddy gave some buy signal here and has its stop loss trail to that low potentially. Below that low, I would say look for a little bit more down. My general interest here for the block would not be to go short, but would be to go long to that 80.29 level and 81.47. If it clears all that within the 80s range, there's little resistance built up, in my opinion. So could be a couple more of those candles, and you're basically at $90. But these levels, right, and all of this price action, it's not only relevant for upside levels. So in the next couple of days, if it breaks below that low that you've made there, then at that point, you're looking at a reversal wave with targets back down. So don't just think that, oh yeah, $90, that's it, because I'm not saying that, right? It could very well trade at 55 somewhere in the future as well. But for now, this would be an ideal level actually to test for SQ. This is the open price of that 3-minute candlestick, the top end of a bullish order block with a 61.8% fib retracement. That would be nice to come down there. It could also happen tomorrow during the regular trading session, right? So that's a level that I'm going to basically just draw a line at. And tomorrow, if it comes to that level, that's a level of interest to me. Carvana, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So we've had SQ into VALE and CVNA so far. I'm still trying to figure out the exact numbers for the CVNA earnings here. I'm extremely untrained to do this kind of, I call it boomer research. Yeah, it's not important. I'm gonna hang out here for another 10-15 minutes, and then gonna get some dinner before the next stream with Duck. So for both here, CVNA and Block, the story is very similar, right? And it's what we've always also, for those that's been around in Penny Boys for a while, you've seen many analysts talk when they're day trading about the impulse and then the retracement, retest, and then go. So I would say both of these stickers have seen their impulse and are now in like the retracement phase. No, not dinner at 5. I'm not based in the United States. I am good at MC. It's basically dinner if you're looking at the top right of my corner of my screen here at 10:30. So without breaking below that low, there's no reason for this to go lower, but it's basically a gamble here. For those pattern lovers, you could call this a bull flag, but if you followed my sessions on charting with Duck, you know that I don't trade these retail patterns, if you will. Not that there's anything wrong with them, and I've done that in the past. Just it's up to way more interpretation than hard horizontal levels. Yeah, midnight streams are a daily thing, though. on both of these charts, like I don't really use that many indicators, but one thing that is interesting always is volume. And probably you've guys seen Bull and Lee and so on, and Ethan, I'm sure they've got volume on their chart. If the volume dies down, then the volatility is also likely to die down. So you need volume means interest, means price action, means volatility. Without when the volume dies off, it's way more likely to just go stale for a while. And that's also, of course, what these charts are designed to do, is to basically incentivize you to do something and then basically to bore you out. It is noteworthy though, like if I'm just looking at this objectively, right? No, not meaning to do a comparison here, but still, isn't it interesting to see, like, at the moment the market closes, both charts have one up close candle, 2 3-minute down close candles, then a huge move to the upside, and now consolidation. So if I'm looking at that, right, both charts are basically mimicking. I would not personally be long or short on them both together at the same time, because they're likely going to move into a similar direction. Not necessarily, right? But so far, it's basically the same idea. So if you're long on both, that's a little bit greedy, because if it doesn't turn your way, all of a sudden you're 50%, you're basically 100% more allocated in that position long. This is what I would like to see. And then a nice move up when nobody is interested anymore. So really, like a boring move like this, get lower, retrace to that 618. People that have been buying the top here, underwater for a night, difficult sleep. And then tomorrow, 618 retracement with that bullish order block. So really, if I just remove everything from these charts, right? And you could just watch one level for the retest. So if you're not long on this and you're asking me where could be a good entry for a long, that's the level there, the open price of those 3-minute candlesticks. And that lines up with a 618 retracement or whatever. And that's basically where I would look to do business. If I'm looking for a retest, what does it mean? A move below and then a candlestick close back above. That to me is a retest that is confirmed enough. Stop loss below the low there, and then targeting back up. Basically like that. That's my idea on the both charts, but I wouldn't play them simultaneously. So I would really pick one, and I would see, like, if I want to pick one, I would see what gives me the potential most upside. So here I have my target 79 there ultimately. Let's see, just for measurement's sake, right? From that level to here, that would be a 45% move. For block, what is the level of resistance that I would be looking at? Probably some wicks there. How much is that in terms of percentages? That's just a 20% move. I'd probably go with CVNA then. But yeah, and that's completely not based on what these earnings say. That is just based on what the potential move to the upside until like significant resistance would be, up to me. But still, it's good to keep them both in mind. Refreshing this Trend Spider page to see if anything else has earnings, but so far it seems this is the most relevant stuff happening right now. With no volume, I guess there's also not that much point in just sitting here and staring at candlesticks that are not gonna move that much. So I hope that the message is clear, in that if you're doing, for example, your own work on these charts, you go to lower time frame and you check what happened after the market closed. These first candlesticks, that's important. And you can also basically note it that below the low that is made here after earnings, then it's bearish, and then it probably cascades further down. There's going to be lots of stop losses from longs, and that's probably going to cascade and create a lot of selling pressure. So it should hold the respective red line here. I'll make it a green line. Again, without any guarantees that it comes back there. If it just runs up in a straight line, it's fine up to me. Don't need to get in everything. I want to get the best possible risk to reward setups here. So the green line would be the respective level to retest / look for an entry. The red line here, that would be the line to say, well, below it, it goes likely way lower, so it can't really hold on to that. And I'll make it another color, maybe the blue line up top. That would be the respective bigger picture resistance for both SQ, SQ here and CVNA here. And I really think that's about the best I can do for you guys. And that's just basically reading the price action after the earnings, and then basically pointing your attention to what I would find relevant for the coming like hours and days. But the best trades are definitely not found, in my opinion, after hours or pre-market. There's not as much volume. The move is it's not always real. So I'd really like to see some confirmation from my respective green lines here on the chart. So 54.5 would be a good level. So originally we had 53.9 for a move above that. Definitely shot up. Now a retest of, I would say, 54.5 in the coming days. And for block, I would like to see, like if I'm looking at that chart, right, I'm thinking to myself, what would I like to see? Well, I would like to see everybody who is long right now with a stop loss below $70 get stopped out because they're greedy and basically they're early, not greedy, but they're simply early. And I would like to take their positions from them after they are stopped out below $70. So below 70, get everybody out with stop losses there and then hold that 69.11. It's only after it goes below that level and then closes at least a 5-minute candlestick above that that I would say that's a good long entry. Carvana expects core profit over 100 million in Q1. That's all very nice, but once again, it's really not my personal biggest interest. At least I'm interested in the levels and the setup that this involves. So if you were working, and this is also the difference between working with limit orders and working with like waiting for confirmation. So if you're just setting a limit order there, you're probably putting your stop loss on that low and you're targeting up. Okay, fine. Same thing here, right? If you're just working with a limit order, say, for example, you don't have much time, you don't have time to look at these charts, you have other things to do, then working with a limit order can be your best bet to still trade without needing to be constantly at the charts. Well, if you do that, that's your stop. But if you're actually at the charts and waiting for the move below and then the candlestick close back above, I personally set my stop loss higher. So not on that low, but under the low that it makes below that green line before then closing back above. That basically squeezes in a tighter stop loss, allows me to try a couple more times and not just hope for the best with a limit order. Even though that is one way to trade if you, again, don't have all the time in the world to sit here and stare at 5-minute candlesticks all day. But I guess I'm going to get some dinner, you guys. And in 20 minutes, I have my stream with Duck, and we're going to go over different charts and outlooks there. So I hope to see you all there. I hope this is somewhat helpful on Block and Carvana. This is how I keep it simple, also on a lower time frame. So I'm going to end the stream here and see you all next time.